How life insurance will protect us from inheritance tax in the future. 9 lives is great, but the inheritance tax is what kills you. What is inheritance tax? Inheritance tax is a form of taxation that is levied against one's property and assets, including ancestral ones, which gets passed on to the legal heirs, children or grandchildren, after he or she passes away as part of inheritance. Inheritance tax is levied on properties, jewelry, shares, fixed deposits, mutual funds, cash in bank, as well as movable properties inherited. In case of properties that are equally divided among all the siblings, the tax is equally levied on the inheritors or heirs, which they must pay. Under the earlier law, the maximum marginal rate was 40% and it could be levied on value of property exceeding rupees 50 lakhs. The primary liability of discharging the estate duty was on the legal representative to whom the property was passed or benefit was vested. During its stay, inheritance tax or estate duty was levied from the period between 1953 and 1985. Currently, inheritance tax is not levied in India as any amount received under a will or by way of inheritance or in contemplation of death of the payer is exempted under Section 56(2) from the levy of any income tax. Inheritance tax is making a comeback. So the government is looking at reintroducing estate tax on inherited property. In 2014, the Minister of State for Finance expressed that she was in favor of bringing back the inheritance tax in some form. Again, there were reports in 2017 which suggested that the government intended to bring back the inheritance tax. While the budget for the year 2018-19 did not bring about any such provision, these speculations refused to die down, and the market sentiment continues to indicate that estate duty will be imposed in the near future. The move would not be to raise resources, but to demonstrate the government's pro-poor orientation and discourage wealth accumulation and fight black money. The Indian plutocracy. Plutocracy, in simple words, is when an elite or ruling class derives power from their wealth. A major cause of high social inequality in the wealthy top percentile who acquire their riches primarily through inheritance. This is from 2014. For a country which is home to a third of the world's poor, India has a surprisingly large number of billionaires. Forbes estimates India is now home to more than 100 billionaires, whose combined net worth is a staggering $346 billion, which is roughly 18% of India's GDP, which means India is producing too many billionaires with outsized fortunes, which is out of balance. From the 2018 report, 10% of the richest Indians had 77.4% of the wealth in India. The poorest 60% had 4.7% of the wealth in India. According to the World Inequality Report to 2022, India is amongst the most unequal countries in the world. India has emerged as the most unequal country with the top 1% of the population holding more than one-fifth of the total national income in 2021. Many economists have lobbied for the reintroduction of inheritance tax as they view it as a viable instrument against rising inequality and beating the shortfall and increasing revenues for the government. Even though experts said that tax will harm a slowing economy needing capital, The finance ministry, however, is likely to present it as a bold and inclusive move to deny the rich more wealth via inheritance, which would create further distortion in wealth distribution in the country. There are certain countries that practice this form of taxation. In many countries, the heir must pay inheritance tax for inheriting any such property or assets from their parents or grandparents or any other relative or friend. Most developed countries that practice inheritance tax levy a high tax on the net value of the assets passed on to legal heirs after the owner's demise. The top 6 countries levying estate and inheritance tax amongst the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development countries are Japan 55%, South Korea 50%, France 45%, Spain 41%, United States and United Kingdom both 40%. Life insurance holds the solution to this problem. Life insurance trust and inheritance tax. Putting or writing life insurance in a trust is one of the best ways one can manage the way the beneficiaries receive their inheritance in the event of one's death. In short, a trust is a legal arrangement that passes ownership of your policy to specific people who are named, known as trustees. As it is no longer legally belonging to a person, it cannot be counted as part of one's estate. This means the loved ones get the full tax-free benefit of the policy. It is a whole life insurance policy. The benefits of writing life insurance in a trust. There are many reasons why putting life insurance in a trust is a popular option. Some of the ways one can benefit from a life insurance trust are control over one's assets. If one doesn't have a trust, the money might be used to pay off outstanding debts. Putting life insurance in a trust gives one greater discretion as one can decide who to appoint as beneficiaries and trustees. Setting up a trust is especially important if one is not married or in a civil partnership, as otherwise one's assets may not transfer to the intended recipient, and faster access to one's money. Without a trust, when one dies, the would-be beneficiaries would need to obtain probate. When a property owner dies, their assets are commonly reviewed by a probate court. This court provides the final ruling on the division and distribution of assets to the beneficiaries, which can cause delays. With a trust in place, the loved ones could receive the inheritance within a couple of weeks of the death certificate being issued and protect the beneficiaries from inheritance tax. Writing life insurance in trust means the money paid out from the policy should not be considered as part of the estate. And the Guinness record for the largest ever life insurance policy for $201 million or rupees 1663.84 crores approximately is a testament to it. Life insurance is an important method of estate transfer to at least consider because death benefits can pass to your heirs essentially free of taxes, as quoted. And life insurance was created to be an instant estate in the event of the premature death of the breadwinner. And life insurance also offers the added benefit of transfer of policy ownership. A person can transfer his or her rights, title, and interest in a life insurance policy to another by assigning it to him or her, excluding policies brought under Married Women's Protection Act of 1874. The estate could save a significant amount of tax. The father of estate planning, Charles Edward Ives, The federal estate tax of United States of America was introduced in 1916, and 2 years later his most noted work appeared, Life Insurance with Relation to Inheritance Tax, in 1918. Charles Ives devised creative ways to structure life insurance packages for people of means, which laid the foundation of the modern practice of estate planning. Before I conclude, it is necessary to leave an inheritance for our children to enable them to have a quicker start in the journey of life. Life insurance and estate planning go hand in hand and complement each other very well. Life insurance has an inbuilt mechanism to protect the estate from being levied the inheritance tax. To get ahead of the possible changes, and if we want to leave behind most for our children, we should consider life insurance. May the force of tax-free inheritance and life insurance be with you. Please do watch my presentation, Myth, I'm rich, I don't need life insurance, for a better understanding of estate planning, the link to which I have provided in the description. Please go through the description for the sources for this presentation. I've shared the link to my next presentation, Fiduciary Duty for Advisors in Life Insurance, putting clients' interests first, at the end of this presentation. And do not forget to check out the playlist for more presentations. If there is something to gain and nothing to lose by asking, by all means ask. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. I sincerely appreciate it. Namaste.